At Thanksgiving dinner, my mother tapped her glass with a practiced smile, the kind she used when she wanted everyone's attention. The room quieted immediately. She glanced toward my sister, Emma, glowing at the head of the table, and said loudly, "Emma's wedding was absolutely perfect." A few approving laughs followed. Then she turned her eyes to me. "So, Nora, when is yours?" My father kept carving the turkey like it was urgent, life-saving work. Emma didn't speak. She just watched me, still and careful, the way she always did when she knew something was about to surface. I set my fork down. "I already had mine," I said calmly. "6 months ago. You all got invitations." The silence that followed was sharp enough to hurt. My father finally whispered, "We never received anything." That lie wasn't new. I'd grown up inside them. From the beginning, my family loved perfection. Balanced photos. Symmetry. Stories that sounded good when told to other people. And in every one of those stories, Emma was the center. She was the achiever, the star, the one whose milestones deserved applause. I wasn't bitter as a child. I assumed this was normal. One child shines. The other steps aside. By our teenage years, it stopped feeling accidental. My mother curated Emma's life like a brand launch, dance competitions, cheer tryouts, awards lining the hallway. When I brought home my own achievements, science medals, a college acceptance letter, my mother would smile and say, "We'll celebrate later, I need good lighting for Emma's photos." I learned to adapt. To survive quietly. Seattle changed that. Moving 3 hours away for work wasn't rebellion, it was oxygen. I built a small, honest life. A narrow apartment with tall windows. Research papers scattered everywhere. Mornings that smelled like coffee. My partner, Daniel, brewed without fail. My job analyzing environmental data didn't impress my mother's friends, but it mattered. Daniel saw me fully. He listened. He remembered things. His parents noticed me too, not because I performed, but because I existed. When Daniel proposed on a foggy June morning near the water, I said yes without hesitation. We chose a simple coastal chapel, invited only people who truly knew us. The only thing I wished, quietly, was that my family would choose me, just once. I designed our wedding invitations myself. Clean, understated, intentional. I mailed them early and paid extra for signature confirmation, because my family had a habit of misplacing things that didn't serve them. I triple-checked addresses. I refreshed tracking numbers like a ritual. Every package showed delivered. Then came the silence. No calls. No congratulations. Not even a casual message in the family group chat. Weeks passed. Then the wedding passed. Still nothing. I told myself comforting lies. Maybe the mail was delayed. Maybe they were planning a surprise. Maybe they were busy. But a colder thought settled in my chest. Someone didn't want those invitations seen. The silence grew heavier. I tried reaching out. My mother's phone went to voicemail. My father promised to call later and never did. One day, I realized my name no longer appeared in the family group chat. I wasn't removed loudly. I was erased quietly. One night, while washing dishes, I mentioned it to Daniel, pretending not to care. "Maybe it's a glitch," I said. He dried his hands and looked at me. "Did they ever respond to the invitations?" "No," I admitted. "Not once." He didn't accuse anyone. He didn't push. He simply said, "Let's check." Together, we traced email activity logs, something I never would have known how to do alone. And there it was. The wedding announcement email opened from my family's house. Deleted. Permanently erased. I didn't need to guess who did it. Emma had always been the gatekeeper. The one trusted with mail, schedules, calls. If something passed through that house, it passed through her first. And she was preparing for her own massive September wedding, hundreds of guests, custom everything. My wedding, even small and quiet, threatened the spotlight. Still, I needed proof. I pulled up delivery receipts. 4 invitations. 4 signatures. One name appeared clearly on every line. Emma. She hadn't misplaced them. She intercepted them. Thanksgiving was coming. I almost skipped it. Almost let them keep pretending I didn't exist. But pretending built this silence. So I went, carrying the truth with me. Thanksgiving looked perfect from the outside. White tablecloth. Polished silverware. Candlelight straight out of a magazine. The moment I walked in, the tension settled onto my shoulders. Emma was already posing for photos near the fireplace, her husband, Mark, adjusting her hair. My mother narrated details of Emma's upcoming wedding to anyone who listened. My father poured wine, eyes distant. No one asked how I was. No one mentioned the wedding they missed. I sat directly across from Emma. She avoided my eyes. Silence was her specialty. Dinner followed the usual script, praise for Emma's dress, venue, guest list. Every word reinforced the truth, they showed up for her. Always. Then my mother tapped her glass again. Emma's wedding was wonderful, she said brightly. So, Nora, when's yours? Laughter. Even my father paused his knife. I didn't smile this time. I already had it, I said. 6 months ago. The room froze. You all received invitations. My mother's smile collapsed. My father frowned. Emma didn't move. We never got anything, my father said. I nodded. I figured you'd say that. I placed my phone on the table and opened the delivery receipts. One by one. 4 signatures. Emma's handwriting unmistakable. My mother gasped. My father leaned closer. Mark stiffened. These were delivered in April, I said. All signed by Emma. The silence returned, different now. Exposed. Emma denied it at first. Claimed confusion. Accidents. But the email logs told the same story. Finally, the truth cracked. She didn't want my wedding competing with hers. The confrontation didn't explode. It unraveled. At first, everyone spoke at once, half excuses, half disbelief. My father kept repeating that they didn't know, that if they had known, everything would have been different. My mother shook her head over and over, whispering that this made no sense, that Emma would never do something like this. She said it the same way she had said it my entire life, as if repetition could turn denial into truth. Emma finally lost her composure. Years of control cracked in minutes. She accused me of twisting situations, of always playing innocent, of making people feel guilty without saying a word. And for the first time, I realized she wasn't defending herself, she was confessing. Not just about the invitations, but about every year she felt threatened by my quiet existence. I listened without interrupting. I didn't need to fight anymore. The truth was standing on its own. When my parents tried to pull me back into familiar territory, we are family, we did our best, let's not make this bigger than it is, something inside me finally settled. I told them calmly that family isn't proven by words spoken too late. It's proven by showing up when it matters. I explained that this wasn't about one wedding. It was about decades of being overlooked, minimized, and erased. About learning to shrink so someone else could stay comfortable. The table went quiet again. I stood up, slowly, deliberately. I wasn't storming out. I was choosing myself. I'm done begging for space, I said. I'm done pretending your silence wasn't a choice. No one stopped me. The cold air outside felt sharper than it should have, but it grounded me. I stood there for a moment, breathing, letting the noise from inside fade into nothing. Daniel opened the door before I even reached it, like he'd been waiting, listening for my footsteps. One look at my face and he didn't ask a single question. He just wrapped his arms around me and held on. I didn't cry right away. I shook. Years of restraint releasing all at once. And he stayed exactly where he was, steady and present, something my family had never learned how to be. That night, we didn't talk about Thanksgiving. We ate quietly, watched the rain hit the windows, and let the world stay small. For the first time, the silence didn't feel like punishment. It felt like peace. The next morning, Daniel's parents invited us for breakfast. Nothing fancy. Coffee, eggs, conversation that flowed naturally. His mother asked about my work and remembered details I'd mentioned months ago. His father laughed at my stories like they mattered. No one tiptoed around what happened. No one demanded forgiveness or explanations. They just showed up. That's when I understood how different healthy love feels. It doesn't interrogate. It doesn't compete. It doesn't require you to disappear to keep it intact. The days after Thanksgiving were quiet, but not empty. Emma sent a long email filled with therapy language, apologies softened by explanation. She admitted to more than I expected, but still centered herself in the pain. I read it carefully. Then I archived it. I didn't reply. My father started calling every few days. Short conversations. Careful words. He told me he'd found one of my wedding invitations buried in a box in the garage. He mailed it to me without commentary. That envelope said more than any apology ever had. My mother never reached out. And for the first time, that absence didn't reopen a wound. It closed one. I realized how much energy I'd spent my life trying to earn attention from people who were invested in not giving it. How much silence I'd accepted as normal. Distance didn't break me. It clarified me. I used to believe family was something you protected at any cost, even if that cost was yourself. Now I know better. Family isn't defined by blood, tradition, or obligation. It's defined by presence. By effort. By who chooses you when there's nothing to gain. Standing in my own home now, Daniel cooking dinner while friends laugh in the next room, I understand what I spent years missing. Love that doesn't need to be earned. Care that doesn't disappear when attention shifts. Walking away didn't make me heartless. It made me honest. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do isn't staying, it's leaving. Leaving the table where you were never truly invited. Leaving the story where you were cast as background noise. And choosing a life where you are seen. If this story feels familiar, you're not alone. And you're not wrong for wanting more.